Thank you so much, Mike. Let's give Mike a round of applause and thank him for his and Dana and the entire team's extraordinary work. It's a real joy to be here today together with two great friends, Jose Huizar and Miguel Santiago, and I want to thank them for their leadership. We've all known each other for many years, even before we were in public service, and to be able to have the privilege to serve alongside both of you, to see the focused work here downtown that we're doing together, I want to thank you both. We wouldn't be here, and I'm going to return to you in a second for some good things and ways that we can help both of you in this coming year. And it is such an honor to be here today, to be with folks who I believe are single-minded in our belief that Los Angeles should be a city of angels again, a place where we don't define ourselves by the mistakes that we've made, the luck that's gone the opposite way for us. Los Angeles has always been a city of second chances. It's why we're here. Whether it's we who moved here, whether it's our parents or grandparents or great-grandparents, they came here because they needed a second chance. A place that has always had lower barriers to entry, to success, where we haven't cared the color of your skin, the language you speak, how you worship God, who you love, any of those things, your age, your gender. What we care about is what you want to pour into the city. The dreams that you have, how hard you are willing to work for that, and what lays in your heart. I saw that spirit this weekend, and I hope you all get out to see some of the ongoing games for the opening of the Special Olympics World Games here. The spirit of the city is alive and well. 30,000 volunteers who poured their love into over 170 countries worth of athletes, over 7,000 athletes that are here. And you see it in this project as well. Something that doesn't just mark history and preserve it, but that is making history. To make sure that we write a chapter that we can all look back on and say we did something at the end of our days that made a difference. Skid Row Housing Trust has transformed a block, but more importantly, it has transformed lives. 52 of the 69 units here that will go to folks who otherwise would be sleeping on our streets or in cars or on couches. And 25% set aside for those who are on the brink of potentially becoming homeless because we still have a recession hangover. As people ask why we still see more and more homeless individuals on our streets, it's because usually it lags for quite a few years after we are homeless. Today serves as a very important reminder for all of us that we can't just manage the problem of homelessness. We must, and I continue to say we will, work to end homelessness in this city. That must be the goal for all of us. You know, folks tell elected officials, don't ever get involved in the issue of homelessness. You can't actually make a difference. You know, do something, but don't talk about it a lot. There's still going to be folks on the streets. But I think I know for the three of us and for a growing coalition of elected officials, I came down here as a teenager first to Skid Row, worked on these streets, serving the homeless. In college, it was one of the main issues that I did with community organizing, looking at revitalizing in Harlem communities that were down on their luck, full of poverty and homelessness. And when I came back here, I resolved to make sure that we could make a difference here. First as a council member in the areas of Hollywood and the surrounding areas, and now as your mayor, to make sure that we look back on this time and say this was the pivot point. This was the hinge of history in which we said this wasn't just a problem to manage, but one to end. We know what works. Give people homes. It's what Housing First is all about. The days of serving people on the street and keeping them alive is a disservice. I hope it's done. The days of putting people in apartments with no help, I hope it's done. We know what works is giving people a home and the help that they need to stay in that home. To build up a system, a coordinated entry system like we are building right here in Los Angeles, as I say, kind of the first ship we have to sail off the island of homelessness, that is increasingly seen as a national model. So whether it's a healthcare worker or a housing referrer or somebody, a mental health professional, we don't have to rewrite the script for individuals each time. We know who they are, we know what their needs are, and we can refer them not to another place, but to the actual service or housing referral that they need. To make sure that we build the homes as we take people out, we need to see this multiplied 100-fold in this town. And I'm so proud of the work that collectively we are doing over the last 2 years to make sure. My wife and I took part in the homeless count this year. I did it here in Skid Row. I think we covered maybe 8 or 9 blocks, and I counted more than 500 people. You talk about Salt Lake City, an amazing city with a great mayor, Mayor Becker. I think when they declared that they had gotten to zero in terms of homeless vets, it was about 220 veterans that they housed. We're housing that many vets a month now in the city of Los Angeles. The scale of our problem is so overwhelming that sometimes we feel powerless to move the ball, to say that we can get to a place where we're going to see a reduction. But these numbers are not statistics. They're not anonymous men and women. They are people. They are stories that we have to learn and that we have to earn the right to help. So often, homeless organizations have been working in isolation. Those days are dead. Today, we declare war on homelessness in this city, building on what we have learned over the last decade, building on what we have seen when we came together through the United Way, the Chamber of Commerce, and partners we hadn't had for years. Now when people call from the Pacific Palisades and North Hollywood and Canoga Park and South LA, and everybody says, I can see it on my street now. I can see the tents. I'm worried. I'm worried for my fellow Angelenos, and I'm worried about the safety in my community. It is time for us to stop managing this and sweeping it and moving it and cleaning up. We have to house our brothers and sisters on our streets. We know who they are and we know how to find them. And today, no matter what door they knock on, it's the right door. Skid Row Housing Trust is one of those doors. For the residents that are here today who have seen their lives transformed, you know that.
That's right.
You've seen it and you've felt it. How you doing up there? Good? And they lead with love, making sure that everybody feels a part of this city, and we're counting on you. We're counting on you to be angels in this city of angels. Veterans, folks who have been in the criminal justice system, folks who have been out on the street. We don't care about the past, we just want to see your future and our future together in this city. Housing navigators who can help navigate a complicated system, complicated for anybody, let alone somebody who's dealing with sometimes multiple challenges. It is this system that allowed us to house 6,000 homeless Angelenos in the last 18 months. We haven't seen those numbers in a long time, and yet we saw the numbers in our official homeless count go up. So we know as we take a step forward, we can sometimes take a step backwards. But if it requires us to take 2 steps forward because of another step backwards, we will do that. It's why we're looking at the causes of homelessness and doing things like raising the minimum wage so that folks don't fall into homelessness in this town, but they can support themselves on the income that they earn. Right now, I'll be blunt. The coordinated entry system is funded at a fraction of what it needs to serve the 44,000 homeless people in this county and the 26,000 who live in our city. So I've called for other cities to invest in LAHSA's coordinated entry system, and we're starting to lead by example. We're still cutting things in our budget because the economy isn't strong enough. But nevertheless, the council and I doubled, more than doubled, the number of outreach teams that we have on the streets of Los Angeles and paid for it out of the city budget. We made sure that we put $10 million in the Housing Trust Fund. As you mentioned, home dollars. For the uninitiated, that's the main source of funding from our federal government. We used to get $50 million for the city of LA in home dollars. This year, in the sequestration budget that's proposed by Congress, they're proposing $60 million for the country. An over 95% cut at a time we need it most. Speak up, speak out, call your congressman or congresswoman now and let them know that's unacceptable. At the state level, Miguel and others, together with David Chu and our speaker, have 2 pieces of legislation we need to get behind. Because with the end of redevelopment, we lost all of those dollars, but AB 35 and 1335 gives us a chance to see $600 to $800 million a year in tax credits and in direct subsidies to build more of this. They need your help. We need 2/3, especially those with Republican friends, and we found some great Republicans who are inclined that way. We need to ramp up the pressure to make sure we're not sitting around here saying, we know how to do this, we just don't have the money to do so. It will require a big push. But we're partnering together with the county, the city council, LAHSA, Home for Good, HACLA, HCID, to develop a 3-part plan that we're going to be sharing in about a month with everyone. That is the battle plan for this war on homelessness here in Los Angeles. First, expanding CES to make sure it is fully funded. The hundreds of people that we need, not the dozens, to make sure that we have the outreach workers, the housing referrals, and the case managers necessary. This year we added $2.9 million from our city budget to CES, and I'm asking the county, my friends, to match that. I know they can do it, and they've been wonderful partners. The Department of Mental Health has been extraordinary, giving us dollars for housing because they get that their case management might go down if we actually house people instead of treat them on the streets. We've also asked for the county to match what we're doing with 20 additional outreach workers in the short term, ones that we can deploy into those places like downtown and Venice, where we're seeing those numbers go up. If we're going to house every homeless person in the city, it's not enough that homeless service and housing providers participate in the system. We need all of our city services to participate in that as well, to empower librarians and police officers and firefighter paramedics to use this system to make the referrals that I know they want to make. I love the story of our firefighters down here in the downtown station that found a homeless family out on their luck, and out of their pocket they took money, drove them to McDonald's, gave them a meal, sat with them. I know what they wanted to do was find them permanent houses. And we need to look at ourselves, the great force multiplier of every city employee, county employee, nonprofit worker as being able to be that. Instead of using city libraries just as quiet places for homeless folks to read and rest, we should treat them as resource centers. And we're going to begin that transformation. This month I cut the ribbon at the new WorkSource Center at our downtown central library, a jobs referral center in a library. Because we know people come to libraries all the time looking for jobs. So let's meet them where they are. It's the reason that we launched for veterans, a new office of Veterans Affairs in the city of Los Angeles for the first time since World War II. And we answered the First Lady of America's call to end veterans' homelessness here in this town. We are on our way to doing that by the end of the year or early next year. A record number of ASH vouchers, a record number of referrals, and the hard work of all of you and folks who took in the former homeless folks in this, who were veterans in this town. So let me just close with this. We know it doesn't work. The criminalization of the homeless is unacceptable. The sweeping them up and moving them around doesn't work. The idea of going forward and trying to say this is a problem of just safety or cleanliness, this is a problem of humanity. And we'll have two things left at the end of our lives, who we knew and what we did. I'm proud to know Mike and Dana and the Skid Row Housing Trust Fund because they do the work. You know, this building is named after an old general. I like that because they are warriors in this fight. But I need each one of you to do the same thing too. To be the warriors, to leave nobody behind on our streets, in our town, to lift up our wages and to build more housing at every level, to get the funding from our state and federal partners that we need while we step up with our own in Los Angeles. To those who are moving in, we love you. Congratulations and welcome home. Thank you so much.